Hey everybody, welcome to Bestie Book Reviews. I'm here with my bestie Mandy.
And I'm here with my bestie, Jessica.
All right, so this is the series where we test each other to see how much we can handle and how much our relationship can handle. It's actually our Convincing My Bestie series where we convince the other one to read within a certain trope. But because this is our last one of 2023, which blows my mind,
Yes.
we are doing something a little different. We are combining. So we are each going to be convincing each other. So you're going to get 12 recs during this video. And we're convincing the other to read one of our favorite books. Now, we didn't, not all of mine were read this year, but these are books that we know that the other one hasn't read that we know they're going to love, but they just haven't got off their tush and read the book yet. So this is one way to make them read one of our favorites. And so that's what we're doing today. We're convincing each other to read from our favorites list.
So our tropes will be all over the place, but you should be able to find several books in this video that you will want to read.
Yeah, because these
so
are
whatever your mood is, we should have one in this video for you.
Yes. So the way this is going to work is I'm going to give Mandy my 6, then she's going to give me her 6, and then we're going to decide, and then you'll see our reactions to the books.
All right.
It's a little weird.
Okay.
But
I'm ready.
Before we get started,
notebook and pen.
Okay. But before they do that, they probably should hit the subscribe button because we are still doing our Road to $1,000 giveaway. We are giving away lots of fun prizes between $750 and $1,000. You guys want to be here for it. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. And also, don't forget to check out our new book journals because we're coming into the new year. Again, crazy to think, but it's just time to start a new book journal for the year. And we designed book journals for you guys. And a trope list that's a companion journal, and that is all linked down below. There's also a video, and you can get these off Amazon, and if you get the paperbacks, they'll be here within a couple of days because mine only take 2 days. Mandy's take a couple more days, but it depends on where you are. So, yay! Okay, let's get started. I'm going to go first here. Are you ready? Are you ready for it?
I'm ready.
You didn't look very excited there for a second.
I got my pen and I got my notebook. I'm ready.
Okay. So the first one I have for you is one that I feel like you should have read already. I know why you haven't read it, but it's time, okay? It's time. And that is The Winter Before by Karen Crompton. And the reason why you haven't read this is because you have this thing where you're like, it's the only book I haven't read of hers, and I need to wait until the new book comes out. Yeah, no more. She has a new book coming out in a couple of days. So read this one. Okay. So this is definitely more angsty and less spicy. And I still gave it 5 stars and absolutely loved it. And I know Karen was like, oh no, Jessica, it's not dark at all. What are you doing? But it was so good. There is some spice. It's just slow burn. It's, all that good stuff. So this is about our hero, who is Isaac, and then Olivia. And they live in this small town. Isaac is the town recluse. He lost his mom in a fire when he was really young, and that has scarred his body, like half of his face. Like he's scarred. And because of this, he has become a recluse in town. He's got long hair. He hides behind his hair. And then you have little Miss Olivia. They met in kindergarten. And there was always something about him that she really, that she was drawn to him. But again, being a recluse, being somebody who was made fun of, being somebody who had a hard time, he didn't make those connections. She's returned home to this little town because her kindergarten teacher, who she was very close to, has just passed away. And the kindergarten teacher leaves her her home. And her home is across the way from Isaac. And so there's things where she needs him. She needs his help, around the house. And she slowly starts pushing herself into his life and trying to draw him out. And so this is their story. It's a very slow, it's slow burn, but this is one of those books where the hero is one of those where you're like, I just want to take him home and protect him and keep him safe, because he's already been through so much, and you just fall in love with him as a character, and you just want to protect the crap out of him. And so that's what we get with Isaac in this book. I need to protect Isaac. So you better be nice to him. Okay. And I know that this is on your list. You've got to read this. Okay. So then the next one that I have for you. Let me put that down very carefully because, again, you got to protect Isaac. This is another one I've told you about. This is one that I reread every once in a while. It's like a cult classic. It's a cult favorite for me. This is Real by Katie Evans. It was popular when it first came out. We don't hear so much about it anymore, but it is an MMA romance. And this is about Remy and Brooke. So Remy is an MMA fighter, and Brooke is she was an Olympic hopeful. She was actually in the Olympics running. She was a runner, and she tore her ACL not once, but twice on camera. And it was really bad. And so like they talk about how you can go to YouTube and still see it. And that's what people know her as. So since she injured herself so much, where she can't do what she loves to do, she is now a sports trainer. And her best friend convinces her to go to this underground MMA fight. And this is not her thing. She's like, I don't want to see people hurting their bodies. I heal bodies. Like that's my thing. And when Remy gets into the ring, he hears the yelling. You know, he's a womanizer, and he hears the yelling from all the women. And he looks over and he sees Brooke, and it's like this instant like zap between them, and he is instantly obsessed with her. And so before the fight ends, she can't handle seeing him get hurt and seeing the guys hurting each other. And so she gets up and she leaves. He knocks the guy out cold, jumps out of the ring, and chases her out of the arena. And then they get outside. This happens in Seattle. And they get out into like the hallway, and he's like, I have to know who you are. And she's not going to tell him who she is. Her best friend, you know, those best friends, comes running up behind him and says, oh, her name is Brooke Dumas, and gives him all of her information. And so then a day or so later, there's these guys waiting for her at home, and she's been looking for a job. She has not found a job because she just finished school, and they offer her the job to go with Remy on these trips and to be his sports therapist. Here's the deal with Remy. You definitely need to check trigger warnings in this book for mental health. He's got highs and he's got lows, and there's like severe highs and lows. And so this is actually, there's two books. This one, I can't remember if this ends on a cliffhanger or not, but there's two books, but you can read the first one and see if you want to move on. The other thing that I was going to tell you about this book, it reminds me of when we were in high school, because they're listening to their AirPods, but their song is Iris by the Goo Goo Dolls, and they talk about that quite a bit in the book. So I mean, it's not One Headlight by the Wallflowers, but it is Iris by the Goo Goo Dolls. And that just takes me back to high school. So, which obviously does you because you're laughing. So there's that book. The next one that I have is another one that I've tried to get you to read over and over again, because the second book in the series is like an all-time favorite, but we're going to start with the first book. So this is a 4-book interconnected series. Okay. And this is Wildest Dreams. Oh, I hate the ring light. Wildest Dreams by Kristen Ashley. So this is the first one in her Fantasyland series. You read the other Kristen Ashley's, you know what I'm talking about. Like you liked it. It is a thicker one, but there is audio, and the audio is amazing. So this is about Seoafin, or Finny, and she is from our world, and she lost her parents. Her parents were they were adrenaline junkies, which she has a little bit of that too. Like they're adventurers. They were adventurers. And she lost them. I think it was a plane crash when she was a little girl. And they were millionaires. They left her money. She misses her parents tremendously. She finds out that there is an alternate universe that is just like ours, where basically we have a twin there. And so her parents are there, but they're not her parents, but they're her parents. And there is another Seoafin that lives there. And through a witch type person in New Orleans, she's had contact with this other Finny who wants to leave their world for her own personal reasons. She pays a lot of money to this witch, and the contract is to be there for a year. She wants to spend time with her parents. And so what she knows is her parents are like king and queen of this realm. They're divided into certain sections, and her parents are in charge of this one section, and she wants to go. So she gets zapped over there, and when she goes over there, then the other Seoafin comes to our world. Okay. She gets there, she sees her mom and like her maids, and they're like, you have 5 minutes, you have to go. And she's like, come again? What? They're like, nope, you have to go. She's in this elaborate gown. You got to go. We're pushing you out the door. and they push her out the door into the church because Siolafin, who left their world, was being married off in an arranged marriage to Frey, was his name, Frey Jakar, from another world, another land, and Siofin from the fantasy world was a lesbian, and she did not want to marry a man, so she swapped places with this Siofin. So Frey knew that, like, it was something that was hidden. It wasn't something that was she wasn't out yet, and so that and this world is fantasy, right? So it's very historical kind of when they get there. He knows that his fiance, now wife, prefers women over men, and he is not, like, he doesn't realize it's a different person. He thinks that is his Siofin or Finny, and so he takes her to a cabin and, like, kind of throws her in the cabin, and then he goes off sailing for a while, and he's like, let's see if she can handle this, because I'm not about this relationship. But then he starts to realize that this person, when he sees her, she's not the right person. She's not the same person. And so this is their story. There's all sorts of elements. It just goes on like this. I love this world. Love this world. I wish there was more. I'm telling you. Okay. Amazing. So there's your fantasy. Okay. Then next, I mean, I feel like we're jumping all over the place because these books are all different in one way or another. You're getting a lot of different books here. We have The 2-Date Rule by Tanya Finsk. Okay. This is a smoke jumper story. So this is about Willa and Grady. And Grady is our smoke jumper. He's got a huge family. He's a lead singer in a band. And Willa is this workaholic. She's a control freak. She's been through some really hard things. And so her girlfriends want her to come to meet them at this this bar that has a women's review or male review. This one night is male review night. And so they're in this bar, they're watching the guy strip. She's not having it. She's just like, eh. She says to go to the bathroom. She's in line at the bathroom, and this guy comes in with his firefighting gear on, like the pants. It's basically the pants and a t-shirt, and he's smoky, and he's got soot on him, and he's dirty. And she's like, wow, now that's the stripper I want to watch. And she totally accuses him of being a stripper, but it come to find out it is Grady, and he's stopping by the bar because that's where his band performs. And he's going to see, he's just gotten in from being out in the wilderness on for a few days, because they go out for a few days at a time on a call. And his team just got home, and he's going to see when they're playing again. And she totally mistakes him for a stripper. And so then things kind of go from there. I loved their story, and I love some of the realistic aspects of being a smoke jumper and being gone, and what that's like for these guys being gone so much. So I love it. So anyhow, so that's that one.
What was the name of that?
The 2-Date Rule. Oh yeah, because she has a rule. She will only go on 2 dates with guys, and he's like, no, we're breaking that rule. So that was the 2-Date Rule. All right. So Run, Posey, Run by Kate C. Wells. This is Mafia. This is a neurodivergent hero. And love this book. I got an itch. Okay. So this is about Dario and Posey. So they've been together for a few years. Dario is the money man for the Mafia. And Posey and him have been in a relationship, but it's a very cold relationship. Dario is a cold character. He doesn't show emotion. He doesn't really have emotion. And so he's just very, he's a self-proclaimed sociopath. One day Dario is in his office and he gets a video, and it's this video of Posey having sex with another man. And so he loses his mind and he flips out, and he decides that he's going to kick her out of the house. So he kicks her out of the house and doesn't listen to her. She's trying to tell him that was from before them. And he's like, nope. And so he's like, I either let the Mafia kill her because she's wronged me, or I tell her to run. And so she leaves everything behind and she goes on the run, because it's either that or death. And he gives her a head start, and he's like, go, you're out of here. And then, yeah, really cruel. You got the angst there. And she's in love with him. but he's very cold. It's hard to have a relationship with somebody who's so cold. So he's accusing her of cheating. So she's on the run, and he finally has somebody look into the video and realizes that he's made a mistake. That yes, this was from before that they were together, and that he misses her first of all, and he realizes his feelings for her, and that he has made a mistake. So now he goes looking for her, and she's become a cam girl for a short period of time, trying to make some money. And she's like, when he finally gets her, she's like, well, I'm doing what you accused me of doing. I'm being the whore you accused me of being. Catches up to her. When he finds her, he's like, you're coming home with me, whether you like it or not. You're mine now. And he clubs her over the head and takes her home. I mean, he doesn't really club her over the head, but he takes her home. And then he has to grovel. So, loved it. Loved it. There's a second book in this series I haven't read yet. It's about the driver. I need to read it, but I haven't. Just saying. Okay. So then, what number was that? I've got two more. One more.
You should just have one more. This is number 6.
One
This
more.
should be the last one.
I've got one more.
Wow me.
I'm gonna wow you. This is your age gap. Okay.
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
I'll pick this one.
Okay. So this is a 19-year age gap.
Yes.
Okay. So this is Two Wrongs by Kimberly Carrillo. So
how have I not heard about this book?
Oh, you have.
Oh, okay.
Okay. This is about Ren, who's your heroine. She's married to Liam. The book starts out around their 5-year wedding anniversary, or on early on their 5-year wedding anniversary. He doesn't come home, and she's made this elaborate dinner for him, and she's waiting for her husband, and he doesn't come home. So she calls her father-in-law, who's Griffin, who she doesn't think likes her at all. He's always been very cold to her, very mean to her. But she calls Griffin, and she's like, Liam hasn't come home, and I don't know what to do. She's a stay-at-home wife. She's not really stay-at-home. She works. She provides for Liam, and maybe she's a stay-at-home wife. I don't remember. I just said the home life is not the best for her, and just go with it. And so she calls Griffin. He comes and picks her up, and they go looking for Liam, and they find Liam at like a parking lot, like a lookout point, balls deep in another woman. Yeah, in the back of the car. So, that starts the breakup process of their marriage. In the meantime, Griffin is coming to terms with the fact the reason why he's mean to her father-in-law, is because he's in love with her. And he has been for years. But he's fought it because there's 18 years difference. And this is his daughter-in-law. And so there's a lot of things that start to come out about Liam. He's not in the best headspace. He's done some horrible things that have horrible consequences for Ren. She just wants to move on, go to college like she had planned, but instead, because they got married out of high school, and she gave up everything for him. And so now she's like, well, I can move on with my life. But because of Liam's choices and things he's done, it's severely affected her and her ability to leave this small town and to go out and do what she needs to do. And so she continually has to fall back onto Griffin for the things that she needs to get these things fixed and just for emotional support. And then their relationship starts. So there you go. Okay, my turn.
Yes, your turn. You ready for 6 fantastic books?
I'm ready.
Okay, so these are 6 books that you just need to read. So pick one, but no, you need to read all of them.
Okay.
The first book should not be shocking, Jessica. Do you know what it's going to be?
Is it a Cal Reed book?
No.
Oh, no. Perfect Strangers?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Perfect Strangers by J.T. Geisinger. So check triggers for this. It does not, it has, this is the author's note before I talk about it too much. Author's note is readers looking for a traditional happy ending should look elsewhere. So just throwing it out there.
Okay, but is it happy at the end somewhat?
Yes, it does.
Okay. Yes. It's just not traditional.
Exactly.
Okay.
So basically, go in blind. Don't read any spoilers. Don't read any reviews for this. Go in blind. So I'm going to give you a little tiny, tiny synopsis because you have to go in blind for this book to be amazing. All right.
Okay.
Olivia, a tragedy has happened in her life, and she is a writer, and she now has writer's block. So a friend allows her to go stay at their summer apartment. No, that's not what I'm trying to say. They allow her to stay for the summer in their apartment in Paris that they're not using for the summer. So she goes to stay there to try and get back her creative writing mojo. She meets James, and he's mysterious, but she's instantly drawn to him, and they agree to a summer fling, but they only exchange first names only. Okay? Okay. This book had me having a lot of feels, very
I
strong
know.
emotions. It's very good. Please read it.
Okay.
Okay. Do you still want the other 5 books?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Next on my list is, I'm trying to go in order here so I don't get lost, is Unhinged by Calla Reed.
Okay.
So this is a romantic suspense. It is the second book in her Fairfax series. You do not have to read Unravel to read Unhinged, although you see a little tiny bit of Victoria in Unravel. So I would read them together, but you don't have to. So this is about Victoria. She has a baby, Evelyn, and she is in. Do you have it on your shelf?
Yeah.
And you haven't read it? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, if the apocalypse happened tomorrow, I have to have good books on my shelf to read that I haven't read yet.
So Evelyn, or excuse me, Victoria is in Fairfax, which is a mental psychiatric ward. Like,
Hospital.
yes. Like, people would call it like the loony bin, but we're going to be a little more nicer about that. So that is where she is, and she's with her baby, Evelyn. And Wes comes to visit her, and Sinclair comes to visit her. But there's a lot of clues that things that are happening don't really make sense to the reader. And we have to keep in mind that Victoria is in this hospital because she's got some mental issues. But does she have mental issues?
Okay.
It is really good.
Okay.
Romantic suspense. Very good.
Calla
It's
Reed.
hard to talk about because you can't really say anything about the book without giving like things away.
Yeah.
But I
And
really
Calla Reed
enjoyed
is
it.
one of our favorite authors.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hands down.
Hands down.
I can't
In
believe
the
you
in the
haven't read
top
it.
5 favorite authors.
I cannot believe that you haven't read it.
I know.
Okay. My next, it's a series. So there's 4 books in it, and it's like cliffhanger-ish. So you could read the first book, and if you hate it, then you don't have to finish it. Okay, it's called Did I Mention I Love You? And this is by Estelle Maxima. I probably said her last name wrong. I'm sorry. So this is about Eden. I read this a long time ago, like when I first really got into reading again, and I loved it
Okay.
so much. So this is about Eden. She is 16, and she is going to go spend the summer with her dad that she has been estranged from. Her dad has remarried, and she has 3 stepbrothers. And so it's kind of like she's the forgotten daughter, and so she goes to stay with him. And he's basically recreated his whole life down there. And she meets Tyler, who is now her stepbrother. He is out of control. He drinks, he does drugs, he has serious anger issues. He is like your typical bad boy. And she kind of develops some feelings for him. They spend time together, but then he'll be hot and cold with her because he actually has a girlfriend. So there's a lot of angst in here. There is a lot of drama. There is a lot of toxicity. There is, I mean, he's a mess. So if you don't like that type of bad boy, don't read this. But It was so good. This is where my forbidden, like, because they're step siblings, dad and the stepmom, are not gonna, like, the dad does not like him at all. He does not like his stepson. And he does not want his daughter getting involved in this stuff, even though he's been an absent father. So that kind of creates some more drama. So there's a lot of things happening in here. Their relationship starts when she's 16, but the 4-book series carries them way into adulthood. So it's not like you're trapped in high school this whole time. It is insanely good if you like that kind of forbidden aspect and that bad boy toxic relationship
Okay.
vibes.
I mean, who doesn't?
I know. Okay. Then I have Unexpected by Elizabeth Atten. I love this book. It is her
This is
only,
the Rockstar Romance, right?
yes.
Okay.
This is the only book that she has written. I she was writing another book, but it's been a while. I get her newsletter and her newsletter has not come in a long time, so I need to do some investigating to see what happened. This book was phenomenal. I would never have guessed it was her first and only book, and it's sad that she doesn't have more books out there because this was amazing. So, this is about Wit. He is a single dad and he is a rock star. And then we have Ava, who is just down on her luck waitress. And sometimes when you get those down on their luck people, they can be kind of infuriating because it's like, just get your shit together and do what you need to do. Well, Ava is really trying to get her shit together, but things just don't go right for her. It's just, I mean, she's just truly down on her luck. So she decides one night that she is just going to go finally let loose. She penny pinches, but she's like, what's it going to hurt if I just go out one time and like have a couple drinks? So she does. And she runs into Wit, who never goes out because he's very focused on like sing my songs, get my butt back on my plane to my kid. And he decides because his plane's not leaving till the morning, like, what's it going to hurt if I go get a drink? So they meet up. They have a one night stand, which is completely out of character for both of them. And he leaves and doesn't leave any information. And so she has no way to communicate with him, but she's going to need to. This book is so incredibly good. I've read a lot of rock star romances. It does not feel like the cliche. The writing is fantastic. You totally feel all of the characters' emotions as you're going through this. I absolutely loved it. Some things happen pretty early on that are like kind of the driving force of the story, which I don't want to give that away. So that's what you need to know. Fantastic rock star romance. Okay, next I have, you have this on your shelf too.
What?
I've been trying to get you to read this since I read it.
On
Like
this
almost
shelf or on those shelves?
2 years ago. I'm not sure what shelf you keep it on. You have it in a very nice hardback set. I'm gonna come steal it since you haven't read it. You're not worthy.
Was it a Mystic book set? Oh no! You haven't read that one. I'm thinking of. What is it?
Something in the Way,
Oh,
Jessica Hawkins. What?
Don't you touch my book.
It would be years before you probably noticed it was gone.
No, it's on the bookshelf that's by the bed. I would see it.
Okay, so this is about Lake. She is 16 and Manning is 23. Lake has an older sister, Tiffany, who's 19, who has no direction. For whatever her reason, her dad is a hard ass on Lake about like, get your grades up. Like, he doesn't want her maybe to follow in Tiffany's footsteps, but nobody seems to mind that all Tiffany does all day is shop. Okay. So Lake comes home one day and there's construction going on next door. And there is a very nice looking construction man, Manning. And they hit it off, but Manning knows right away, like, this isn't going to work out because she's 16 and I'm 23, not going there. Now, if she was a few years older, no one would care, but we have to kind of recognize that Manning is seeing that this is not okay, but there's definitely some attraction there. This is also 3 books, I believe, series. So you have to be in it for the long haul, and these characters will frustrate the heck out of you through this. I loved it for the 90s throwback. So if you are a 90s kid, you will love this because it starts in the 90s. They have to actually make regular phone calls. There's no cell phones. They listen to Plural Jam. Like, I just loved the feel of that. So Manning decides that the best way to spend time with Lake is to also spend time with Tiffany, the older sister. And so that is kind of where a lot of this angst comes from. It definitely goes down that love triangle road. Lots of different things happen that keep them apart. It is heartbreaking, it is angsty, but it is so worth this emotional ride. I loved it. And you are committing book sins by having this on your shelf and not reading it.
Again, if the apocalypse happened tomorrow, what am I going to read while I'm fighting off zombies?
Okay.
Okay.
Are you ready for my last book, right?
Yeah.
We should be at 6 now. Okay.
Yeah.
So I tried really hard not to chuckle when your first book that you pulled up was Karen Crompton, because literally the last book on my list is Karen Crompton.
I thought it might be here.
Hellbent and Heaven Sent. So it's a duet. You start with Hellbent.
I know. I have them on my shelf.
And then you read Heaven Sent. Okay?
Okay.
You have a serious problem. But hey,
Again!
how well do I know you if I'm picking all the books that you have sitting on your shelf that you need to read?
True.
Okay, so this is about Bo. I want to state really quickly that you do need to check triggers. There's some deep, heavy topics that are discussed in this book. So Bo is your typical surfer bad boy. He drinks, he parties, he sleeps around, has one night stands, and he is perfectly content living his life this way. Like, alcohol is like his bestie. And actually, the book starts off with him in court getting sentenced to community service. And he has to go serve his community service at the pool. And this is where he meets Corey. Corey is nothing like Bo. She is a very driven, well put together, good girl. Like the typical bad boy, good girl relationship here. Okay.
Yep.
Bo's angry. He's bitter. We find out a lot more about why as the book goes on. But he's like acting out and he has a really hard time. But he falls for Corey, like loves her pretty instantly and wants to make things work, but he's also hurting. I want to read just the little tiny blurb, like not the whole blurb, but just the little tiny blurb, because I think this kind of sums up the book really well. It says, Hellbent is a story that matters about life, love, and death. It's a story of how life can spiral out of control for those left behind, and it's a story of hope. So good. And then you read then Heaven Sent because it's a duet. Okay.
Mhm. Mhm.
So those are
my 6.
your 6. And I know I kind of gave you several that you have to, if you read them, there's more books than just the one, but
I give you
these are the ones that I've been nagging you to read for a long time, and I'm confused as to why you have not.
I could ask you the same thing about your books.
Okay.
Okay, so what book are you going to read?
Oh, you're asking me first?
Well, yeah, you got yours first.
Okay. Where did I write? Oh, there. There's several on here that I want to read, so this sucks. And I'm like, I need to pick as you're telling me.
They'll all get read at some point because these are ones that have been on our lists. And we know that the other person loves these books. So we will get to them all eventually, but you have to read one for this video.
Yes, I do.
Yes, you do.
I already want to read The Winter Before, and I already have it on my pre-planned list that I'm trying to follow to read. So I feel like if I pick it, it's kind of a cop-out of the video a little bit. But I'm going to read it. So for this, I'm going to pick 2 wrongs.
Okay. And then
And again, I will probably read all of the books at some point in time.
The list you gave me, these are all books that I really want to read. The thing is, when I'm looking at these books, the only one that's a new author to me is Elizabeth Atten. And so it's her first book. It's one that I keep forgetting about, where the other ones are like high on my list. We just haven't got to them yet.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I'm going to read Unexpected by Elizabeth
Okay.
Allen. Yeah. So, okay.
Okay. So
All right.
we'll check back in with each other and see how we liked our picks.
Yay. Okay. See you in a little bit. Okay. All right. So we've both finished our books.
Yes. So Jessica, tell us how you liked Unexpected.
I really, really, really liked it. I'm not sure if it's going to be a 4.5 or a 5, but I loved it. I cannot believe that was her first book. Like,
I
that
know.
was so good that I'm like, wow, I need more. I'm anxious to see what she puts out. It was definitely worth the read. It was so good.
Yes,
Yeah.
I would love to read more books by her. So I hope that whatever's going on, wherever she's at, that she gets back into writing, because it was such a good book.
It was so
Loved
good.
it.
Yeah, it was so
Yeah.
good. Okay, so how'd you like Two Wrongs?
I enjoyed it a lot. It was a solid 4-star read for me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think for me, I thought it could use a tiny bit more angst, but it was still really good. And part of my thought on that was, I was listening to the audio, we were camping, and I was like, so did I just kind of, is it just not hitting right because I'm not listening? I mean, because I'm not reading along, I was doing other things, or is it because it just needs a little bit more? But I liked it a lot.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Daddy
All right.
Griffin.
Daddy Griffin. Pretty sure that's in my notes too. So, yay. All right, guys. So we did it. We read favorites of each other's.
Yes.
And they were hits.
Yes.
So that means you guys need to
leave us a comment. Let us know if you like any of these books, if you're going to read any of them that we put on there. And then also, this is our last convincing for 2023. So if you have ideas that you would like to see us do for the new year, make sure you comment those as well. We love doing your ideas, and we usually try to make those happen when you guys give us suggestions. So make sure you tell us what you want to see in 2024 for Convincing My Bestie to read. And it is okay if it's something we've already done and you want to see more of it, or if it's a topic that you know we both love, that's totally okay too. Just like we did on this one, we can make them work however. So we enjoy doing them. So leave us those comments. Make sure to check back on Mondays, Thursdays, and Saturdays for new videos from us, and also on Wednesdays just for the rest of 2023 for Romance School 101.
Yay. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video.